Have you ever wondered how long it takes to knit a pair of socks on a knitting machine? Search no more, as I'm going to test it today, from a ball of yarn to the finished socks. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Bas and in this video I'm going to test how long it takes me to knit a pair of socks on a knitting machine. Now first I need to set some rules for this challenge. Rule number 1. I'm going to time from the ball of yarn to the finished socks. So that's the actual knitting on the knitting machine and the sewing and finishing the sock. Rule number 2. I'm going to knit a pair of socks because I actually want to wear these socks. So I'm going to knit 2 socks. Rule number 3. If I make a mistake or if something goes wrong, what do I do? Do I count it in the time or... yes. If I make a mistake, that's part of the deal. So it will be counted in the total time. Rule number 4. Do I knit a small sock or a large sock? Well, I could make it easy for myself and just knit a small sock. But I really want to wear these socks, so I'm going to knit a large sock. I'm a tall guy, I have European shoe size 46, 47. So I'm going to knit a pair of large socks. But if your feet are smaller, you'll probably be faster than me. Final rule number 5. I can choose any knitting machine I want. I own several flatbed knitting machines, some true double beds, some single beds, some flatbeds with a ribber. But I can choose any knitting machine I own that I see fit for this challenge. Now, let's get started and make some decisions. The yarn. You've already seen me holding this ball of yarn. I was in a local bookstore in town and I accidentally discovered they also had some yarn, so I bought it. It is a self-striping or self-patterning yarn, which means I can knit with just one strand. I don't have to do all kinds of color changes, but it will end up with a nice pattern, so it will look very impressive without any hassle. It's considered a standard sock weight yarn over here, which means it is a blend of 75% wool, 25% polyamide, or also called nylon. And on a ball of 100 grams, it has 420 meters. So you can compare it to the yarn that you want to use. And for the pattern, I have chosen this generic sock pattern. And this is a pattern for a circular knitted sock. So from the ankle all the way to the toe is knitted circular. I could have also chosen a pattern where I knit the entire sock flat, but then I would have to do a lot of sewing afterwards. And since this is a time challenge, I want to make it easy for myself. I did decide on a large section of ribbing, which means I have to sew the side seam, but I just really like my socks better that way, so I'll take that loss in time. So I have decided on my pattern. And this means I'm going to knit my sock on a double bed knitting machine or on a flat bed knitting machine with a ribber. I have some single bed knitting machines like my Singer Solo, but that's out the door for this challenge because I want a double bed knitting machine because I want to knit my sock in the round. So this leaves me with my Pass-Up Duomatic knitting machine or my Brother knitting machine, or I also have a Singer Superba knitting machine. And for this challenge, I'm going to knit it on my Pass-Up Duomatic 80 knitting machine. It's a super nice, streamlined, true double bed knitting machine. It doesn't need any weights. It knits like a dream, perfect for this challenge. But remember, you can knit socks on any knitting machine you have. You can knit socks on single bed knitting machines, you can knit them on a Brother. I have several videos out on my channel demonstrating how to knit socks on different machines. So you can knit them on any machine, but for this challenge, I'm going for the Pass-Up. And don't forget, the best knitting machine is the knitting machine that you have at home. Okay, so how fast am I timing for? Well, I have knit many socks before. When I first started knitting on knitting machines, it took me way longer than it takes me now to knit a pair of socks. But I've never actually timed myself. But I guess one sock between an hour and a half maybe. So 2 socks in 2 to 3 hours. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, what would be really cool? Write in the comments down below how long you think it takes me to knit a pair of socks. And if you know how long it takes you to knit a pair of socks, also write it down. I would love to know. Okay, so first I'm going to wind my ball of yarn into a yarn cake for easy feeding through the machine. And since I'm filming everything on my telephone, I dug up an old phone of mine so I can time it. So, ready? Let's go. Start. Timer started. Okay, yarn cake done. Threading up the machine. Okay, because I want both socks to be the same and it's a self-striping yarn, I'm going to look very closely at how my yarn looks. And I'm starting with green and then a green-white stripe because I want to remember this for my second sock, because I'm going to try to get both socks at the same pattern. I'm not sure if I will manage, but let's try it anyway. Okay, the machine is threaded and I'm at 5 minutes 50. Start knitting. Okay, 12 minutes so far knitting my rib, and now I'm going to transfer my rib into circular knitting. And I already made a mistake. I started out with the wrong number of needles. Really stupid mistake. So, important lesson learned. Knitting on a knitting machine requires you to focus, stay calm, and just pay attention. So I'm going to undo all of this. I'm going to pull my yarn back through the yarn feeder and I'm going to start over. It's 18 minutes in. And I just have to start over. All this was for nothing. Now let's pull it through. I'm basically just going to frog the entire piece. Okay, start over. An important lesson learned. Stay calm. I know I'm on a time constraint, so I got stressed and wanted to do it really quickly, but it's better to take it slow. Now, selecting the right amount of needles, 36 to the left, 36 to the right. Check again. Yes. Zigzag row to cast on. Take up my yarn, zigzag row to cast on, circular, final zigzag, cast on complete. So, resetting the row counter. Now again, knitting 64 rows for my ribbing. Now ribbing is done, transferring all stitches from the front bed to the main bed and setting up for circular knitting. And I'm all set up for circular knitting. Okay, I'm in 36 minutes so far. And now I can start knitting circular for the ankle. Okay, 39 minutes and I'm going to start the heel. Okay, 46 minutes and I have just finished the heel, so now it's just easy circular knitting for the foot. Now this was super easy and quick, 49 minutes, and now I'm going to finish with the toe. And the knitting part on the knitting machine for the first sock is finished. And look at how cool this self-striping yarn is. Without any hassle, a really festive sock. Now the question is, how long did it take me to do the knitting part for the first sock? So, my timer, 1 hour and 7 minutes. So now I have to knit the second sock, but hopefully it will go a bit faster than the first sock because I was really stupid. I started with the wrong number of needles. So I'm going to make sure that I start with the right number of needles now. Then knit the second sock and then sew them all together. Let's see how it goes. Now I want my second sock to match my first. And I'm not yet sure if I have enough yarn to accomplish that. But looking at the stripe pattern, I finished in red. And I want to start at this point where the green and white mix and then go to red. So I take my yarn end and I'm just going to wind all the way down through brown, green, almost there, red again, red and white, green, and here it is, green and white. So I'm going to cut this off and keep it for later if I don't have enough yarn. And I'm going to start knitting from this point in my yarn, so I have almost matching socks. Now here we go again, second sock. One hour and 20 minutes. The ribbing for my second sock is done, so now I'm going to set up for circular knitting. Okay, so now I have finished the heel and I am at 1 hour and 45 minutes. Now continue with the foot. And knitting the foot is just plain circular knitting, should be really quick. Okay, I'm knitting the foot. And this is all I have left so far. I wanted to match my socks, but it seems like I'm not going to have enough yarn. That's not a problem, because I've got this yarn as well. So the start of my sock will match, but the toe will probably won't match. Let's see how far I'll get. Oh dear. finished. Okay, so now I'm going to continue with this yarn, but I'm going to knit as far as I dare. 151, okay. Okay, so row 152, my yarn is over here. So I'm not going to play yarn chicken all the way till the end, so I'm just going to thread my leftover yarn. So I'm going to tie this yarn to this with a knot. I'm not going to knit with the knotted yarn. I'm just using it so I can easily transfer the new yarn into the knitting machine. I'm just going to pull the new strand of yarn through the yarn feeder, through the eyelet. I'm securing it on the machine and now I can continue knitting. And this will mean that the striped pattern will be slightly different for the toe, but that's just how it is. If you have smaller feet, you'll probably be able to make two exactly matching socks, but I have larger feet and this is how I do it. Okay, the foot is finished. What's the time? We're at 1 hour and 53 minutes, so it's going pretty well actually. Almost my second sock is finished and I'm still under 2 hours. Barely, but about 2 hours is the knitting part. And now I'm going to decrease for the toe. And sock number 2. 2 hours and 7, well, almost 8 minutes. Pretty on schedule. The knitting part on the knitting machine is done. I have 2 knitted socks in just over 2 hours. Now let's finish the socks by sewing the seams and they're done. And my socks are finished. I've put them on some sock blockers. They're really festive, really cool. I'm really happy with them. Now the socks are almost identical, all the way from the cuff down up until the toe. And the toe is slightly different, but that's because I ran out of yarn in the patterning sequence. This is all the yarn I have left. So there was no other way for me to get the pattern right. Now at first I estimated I would do about an hour and a half for a sock, which would equal to 2 to 3 hours for 2. And I did 2 socks in exactly 2 hours and 33 minutes. So that's just in between. I must admit, I did start out with a mistake. For my first sock, I started out with the wrong number of needles, and that set me back a little in time. But all in all, a really great result in a really small time frame. So, if I have a party tomorrow, or tomorrow is Christmas, or something else, and I want to show up with a really cool hand-knitted personal gift, or I want to show up in socks that I knit myself, I can start the evening before and have them ready the next day. That's beside all the stress it will probably give you. But it's good to know how fast you can knit a pair of socks. And I've said it before, the first time I knitted socks, I was way slower than I am now. And in a few years, maybe I'll be even faster. But it's a good indication. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please leave a like on the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. It all helps out the channel a lot. Thanks. I wish you happy knitting and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.